Rover. Hopefully the parts I need are in here. Doubt they even are. Never mind, I found the pieces I need. Let's see what we have here. Today we're going to be doing dislocation cones on the back of the Rover. I ordered these off of eBay from a vendor whose name was Overland X, but it's not that Overland X. It turned out to just be Schmucky Late disguising themselves as Overland X on the eBay. Weird, I know. Anyway, let's look in this box and see what we got. So I can already see what an abject exercise in futility this is going to be, because the way these go, this top plate is going to sit on top of the spring bucket. The bottom one actually sits inside the spring. You got a bolt right here that holds it all together, but somehow this little nut just got to get secured right there. This is going to be interesting, folks. I don't know what's going to fit in there to hold that nut. Let's go over to my drawers and try to find the appropriate wrench for this. I'm assuming maybe a gear wrench or maybe just a spanner, but we need to see what size wrenches we're going to need on both sides. It's nothing that's in my drawers, which tells me that it's probably one of those spanners that's in my toolboxes in the Rover. I'll get that out, but it looks like this nut is going to be a 17 millimeter, and so is the bolt. I'm just going to go ahead and set these pieces up right now, and we get this rig up on a jack, pull some tools out, hopefully I find what I'm looking for, and we get after it. Okay, so we're back. We've got to put a dislocation cone in here. And the reason for that is, basically I changed one thing, and it's like that old adage, for want of a nail, a shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of the wire, for want of the nail, the shoe, the horse was lost. For want of, it's that cascading effect of changing one thing. Well, in this case, I got in a hurry this summer, and I broke a shock mount when I was trying to get out on a trip. And instead of just transferring everything over to the 4Runner, I was stubborn and really wanted to take the Rover on this trip, so I got the only shock mounts, the upper shock mounts that I could find on time, and that was this pair of lowered Terrafirmas. And what that one change did was change all of these geometry in here. And I also added a set of Terrafirma shocks, which just tend to be a little bit longer than the factory shocks. So coupled with basically a 2-inch drop here and the lengthened shock, which on this particular vehicle, the shock's the limiting portion of how far an axle can articulate. And what that does is that allows this axle to come down far enough that the spring up here will actually relocate. It'll come down, it'll miss, and the outside lip of the spring will be hanging right here on the outside of this arc, which allows this part of the spring to rub up against your tire. Not good. And to get this back in the field, you've really got to jack the vehicle up and then use a bar or a hammer to slide the spring back over. So what we get instead is we get this dislocation cone. And it'll sandwich on top of here and come up in here from the bottom. And what that cone does is it stays centered right here, so if the spring falls to one side or another, as it comes back up, this cone will relocate it into the center of the position. But as you're gonna see, part of this is simple to install, but the other half can kind of be a bear, and I figured a trick after I've just done the other side, and I'll show it to you now. Now on the other side, I did not need to disconnect this shock to make this work. You may have to on yours. Realistically, all we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 mounting bolts off the bottom of the spring, then we're going to go ahead and pull the spring out of the way, we'll install the cone, and then we'll put the spring back on, kick it over, bolt it back down, and we should be done. Now yes, you will see the brake lines getting kind of tight right here. I'm keeping an eye on them, but I do have a brake extension kit. I just don't have time to do it today. It will be on the next round of videos for the Rover. I'm going to do all 4 corners with this extension kit that was kindly given to us by a viewer named Tyler. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump in and start on this. I'll check in with you when we're ready to put the cone in the top, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get the spring out now. Okay, now you're gonna get to see the really fun part. Now you're gonna need a 17 millimeter for this, which is the same size spanners that you use to take the plate off the bottom of the spring. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this guy. What you're gonna have to do first, you're gonna have to take that top plate and drop it in. Something that you're not gonna see too well is getting this guy to fit in here is going to kind of be a little bit of a nightmare because you don't have enough clearance up underneath here to try to thread the bolt at an angle. What you're going to have to do is you have to slide the plate on, and then you're going to have to try to drop the bolt in at an angle. Well, it worked better on the other side that way. Sometimes you just need the correct application of blunt force impact. Now we'll go ahead and hang this. Okay, so I don't know how much of that you saw, but essentially you gotta get that wrench in here like that, around that nut, and then you come in from the top and start spinning it around until it's tightened down. And it's not gonna be easy, it's not gonna be quick, but it'll get done. That's the thumbnail. Okay, now it's time to just put everything back together the way it went. You saw how that went in there. Hopefully this does its job. We don't ever have another spring dislocation. I'm gonna wrap this up, put it all back together the way it came apart, put the wheels back on, put it on the ground, and call it a day. I gotta get off to a parent-teacher conference with the boy, because you know it's that time of year again. And then I got to get ready because we're meeting Lawrence and Ann tomorrow night on a camping trip. So hopefully this video helped you learn how to get these cones in. If you have any other questions or comments, just throw them below and I'll try to address them in another video or just answer them directly in line. Yes, I know that these brake lines are very tight, and as I said before, we have some. I've just got to do them. I'm going to try to get it done next week, I hope, as time permits. Keep your eye out for that video. It should be coming up soon, as well as any other ones. And I still got a whole bunch of stuff from Overland Expo I got to go back and re-edit out and get up for you guys. So lots of content coming. Appreciate you watching the channel. As always, I'm Matt Kester. Find me on Facebook and Instagram at Frugal Explorer Dad. Check out the channel at Secondhand Overland on the gram and Secondhand Overland on the Facebook. And go to the website, secondhandoverland.net, and pick up some merch. Help support the show. This is just like PBS, supported by viewers like you. So whatever you can do certainly will help us and keeping this content coming. Till next time, be good.